The Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2, in conjunction with Colfax High School, presents Viking Pregame. A look at today's Colfax Vikings boys game. And now, Viking Pregame.
Good evening and welcome to the NLWN2 studios and tonight's boys basketball game between the Colfax Vikings and the Fall Creek Crickets. Rick Olson here, and tonight the 10-11 Colfax Vikings, who are 8-5 in the Dunn-St. Croix Conference, are stepping out of conference play to take on the 14-8 Fall Creek Crickets, who sport an 8-4 record in the Western Clover Belt Conference. The Vikings want to build on their 4-game winning streak and prepare for the upcoming WIAA regionals, which start 1 week from tomorrow, following their 51-47 victory over the Mondovi Buffaloes on Friday, while the Crickets would also like to tune up for those same WIAA regionals following their 71-51 win over the Cadott Hornets on Friday. Coming up in this edition of Viking Pregame, we'll take a look at tonight's matchup between the Fall Creek Crickets and the Colfax Vikings. Then we'll get Coach Height's perspective on today's game in Coach's Corner. Following that, we'll take a quick look around the Dunn-St. Croix Conference to see where the conference sits heading into the final conference games on Thursday. Finally, our broadcast crew will bring you all the play-by-play action of today's non-conference game between the Crickets and the Vikings. So it's time to get ready for some exciting high school boys basketball. All that coming up right after this brief timeout as you're tuned to Viking Pregame on NLWN2.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those barbecues you plan in detail for your family? Or your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
Welcome back to Viking Pregame, as we're getting ready to bring you all the action of today's non-conference matchup between the Colfax Vikings, who are sitting at 10-11 overall and 8-5 in the Dunn-St. Croix, and the Fall Creek Crickets, who are currently riding 8-4 in the Western Clover Belt Conference, as well as 14-8 overall. Now, the Vikings are coming into this game following a 51-47 win over the Mondovi Buffaloes on Friday, while the Crickets defeated the Cadott Hornets on Friday 71-51. In that win over the Buffaloes, the Vikings and the Buffaloes both played pretty sloppy in the first half, with the Buffaloes leading 22-20 at halftime. The Vikings cleaned up much of their act in the second half, opening up a substantial lead, only to see the Buffaloes mount a frenzied comeback and close the gap to only 2 points with about 30 seconds remaining. The Vikings were able to hang on for the 4-point win. Leading the way for the Vikings in that effort was 5'11 junior Orion Nichols, who scored on 6 field goals and went 2 for 4 from the free throw line for 14 points.
Brenner to Konitzer, and ball ripped away by Orion Nichols. No jump ball here.
He was followed by 5'6 sophomore Trey Larson, who hit on 4 field goals, 2 of which were 3-pointers for 10 points.
Floor for the Vikings, out to Trey Larson, takes a 3-ball, good!
6'5 freshman Russell Pukowski added another 10 points, as well as contributing on defense with 5 blocked shots.
And shot blocked by Polkowski, goes out of bounds. Other end is Spindler, Spindler down to, blocked by Polkowski, Faulkner's shot. Feed to Spindler, nice block, Polkowski, but back out on top. Fires over to Faulkner, Polkowski comes up with a loose ball. Caden Dean comes to get it, another block by Russ Polkowski.
The Fall Creek Crickets come into tonight's game with a conference record of 8-4 in the Western Clover Belt Conference. Now that's good enough to land them in 3rd place in the conference behind Bloomer and Regis. The Crickets are averaging 57 points per game while giving up 46. So far this season, Fall Creek is being led by 6'7 sophomore Miles Schmigdahl, who is shooting 52% from the floor, hitting as well as 67% from the charity stripe, while averaging 16 points per game. He's followed by 5'10 sophomore Jackson Tangley, who's shooting at 38% from the floor and 83% from the free throw line while contributing nearly 10 points per game. On the board, Schmigdal is the top rebounder, pulling down over 12 rebounds per game, while 6'3 junior Corbin Sell is grabbing another 7.5. Thus far this season, the Vikings are scoring 56 points per game while giving up 58 and are currently riding a 4-game winning streak. Leading the way for the Vikings is Aiden Fisher, who's averaging nearly 22 points per game. He's followed by Russell Pukowski, who's scoring over 13 points per game, as well as Ryan Nichols, who's adding over 11 points per game. On the boards, Pukowski leads the way, averaging 9 rebounds per game. He's followed by Fisher, who's averaging nearly 6. Now, coming up next, following this timeout, we'll get the coach's perspective as we chat with Viking head coach Nick Height on Coach's Corner. You're tuned to Viking Pregame on NLWN 2.
My dad was a farmer. The guy was bigger than life. He wasn't someone that liked to show his emotion or liked to show when he was struggling, but we all struggle. I want to show emotion to my kids. It's something that brings me so much joy, and I want them to see me working through things. Allow your kids to know that it's okay to struggle, that even dad doesn't know the answer sometimes, but we're gonna figure it out together.
Time now to see what the coaches have to say. It's Coach's Corner, what they look at tonight's game from the coach's point of view. And now, Coach's Corner.
Today, once again, Viking boys head coach Nick Height is joining us on Coach's Corner. And today, Coach, the Vikings will be taking on a non-conference opponent in the Fall Creek Crickets. But before we get to that game, on Friday, the Vikings had to hold on to defeat the Mondovi Buffaloes 51-47. Your thoughts about that game?
It was a good win. It was a good win to kind of solidify fourth place. I know we didn't probably play as well as we wanted to. First half was a little slow, but, we found a way at the end, and that's what good teams do. Even when you don't have your best stuff, if you can, weather that storm and finish the game. I mean, as bad as we shot free throws there in the second half as well, just a great one to come get on a Friday night on senior night in Mondovi.
You kind of hinted at it. The first half of that game looked pretty ragged, actually, by both teams. What on earth happened?
Well, I think turnovers. I mean, like we said, we had 12 turnovers at halftime. Russell got 2 early fouls and didn't really play a ton. Aiden kind of sat that last end of the first half as well. Just a lot of combos of different things. We didn't shoot the ball well at all. But 12 turnovers was just too much in a half. We were fortunate only to be down by 2 at halftime.
Well, I don't know what you said at halftime, although I think the walls were shaking a little bit. But the Vikings seemed to get their act together in the second half until maybe the last 2 minutes. What was the biggest part of the improvement in your eyes?
I think we got to the rim pretty well, and when we got there, just our dump-offs. I think Theo had probably 6 points in the second half just off of Orion getting to the paint alone. I thought defensively we were pretty good in the second half. I mean, there were a lot of times where, they had to take a minute off the clock because they really couldn't find anything offensively. So defense wins, and I think that helped us in the second half. They were stuck at 32 points for quite some time.
The Mondovi Buffaloes mounted a pretty ferocious comeback in the last 2 minutes, closing the gap to only 2 points with less than 30 seconds remaining. Talk a little about the poise that the Vikings showed to be able to hang on for the win.
Well, I told our boys after the game, down the stretch, we really haven't had a ton of close games. So it was actually kind of nice to get one of those closer games here before playoffs start. But, They made some shots down the stretch. I mean, there are only 2 threes in the game. We're kind of in that last 2 minutes. I thought we did a nice job of closing out with free throws, even though we didn't shoot it very well in the second half. But, I mean, Orion got those 2 big free throws there towards the end. Again, I thought we had some sloppy turnovers in the last 2 minutes, but, we found a way to get it done.
Tonight the Vikings take on the 14-8 Fall Creek Crickets. They're out of the Western Clover Belt Conference. What can you tell us about the Crickets?
They're going to be tough. The Clover Belt's a tough league. They're kind of top of that league. It wouldn't surprise me if we see some man, some 2-3. The 6'7" sophomore is going to be a handful. So I don't think Logan's going to go tonight. I think his shoulder's pretty sore. So, we'll just kind of ease him as we move on into later this week and next week.
It appears as though the Crickets, you kind of hinted at a little bit, they have one big guy in that Miles Schmigdahl with a pretty solid supporting cast. But it's one of those situations where if you can neutralize the big guy, you should be able to handle the supporting cast. So what are your plans for neutralizing Schmigdahl, especially if Logan can't go?
Well, I think Russell's going to have to play a solid defensive game, and we're going to have to close high to shooters. They got guys who really can score the ball outside. So keep him off the glass. He's really athletic. Pretty skilled, so I think it would be a fun matchup with Russell and him tonight.
Well, Coach, good luck on tonight's game. Hopefully, the Vikings can find a way to keep that winning streak going.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rick.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner, with a look at tonight's game from the coach's point of view. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
My name's Stacy, I'm 57, and I was adopted in 2020. One teen can come in and make you look at life in a whole different way.
He's my father, so I look up to him a lot. If I can be 10% of the man he is, I'll be a happy person for sure.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org.
Welcome back to Viking Pregame. The Dunn St. Croix Conference had a full slate of conference play scheduled back on Friday. Now, taking a look at those results, the Vikings held on to defeat the Mondovi Buffaloes 51-47, while the Durand, Arkansas Panthers knocked off the Boyceville Bulldogs 68-47, and the Spring Valley Cardinals topped the Elmwood Plum City Wolves 59-33. It also was the Elk Mound Mounders defeating the Glenwood City Hilltoppers 61-52. Now, following Friday's action, with only one conference game remaining for most of the conference teams, the Dunn St. Croix Conference standings are as follows. On top of the conference remains a tie between the Durand, Arkansas Panthers and the Spring Valley Cardinals. Both teams have records of 11-1. While the Elk Mound Mounders, posting a 10-3 record, have locked up third place. Fourth place sees the Vikings at 8-5, and their strongest conference finish in the past 5 years, while the Glenwood City Hilltoppers at 5-8 sit in fifth place. Then in sixth place we find the 3-10 Boyceville Bulldogs, with the 2-11 Elmwood Plum City Wolves sitting in seventh place. Eighth place belongs to the 1-12 Mondovi Buffaloes. Tonight, the Dunn St. Croix Conference has one critical conference game, as well as a number of conference teams stepping out of conference play to tune up for the WIAA playoffs. In conference action, the Durand, Arkansas Panthers and the Spring Valley Cardinals will break the deadlock for first place when the two teams meet in Spring Valley. In non-conference action, we find the Vikings traveling to Fall Creek to take on the Crickets, while the Elk Mound Mounders will host the Bloomer Blackhawks. It will be the Webster Tigers visiting the Elmwood Plum City Wolves in Elmwood, and the Boyceville Bulldogs will welcome the Flambeau Falcons. Today, the Vikings can't afford to play a half similar to the first half last Friday. In order to defeat the Crickets, the Vikings will need to be running on all cylinders. But that's the type of effort they'll need come the WIAA playoffs. So this is a good tune-up game for the Vikings as well as for the Crickets. So the stage is set for some exciting high school boys basketball with the Colfax Vikings facing the Fall Creek Crickets. Now in just a moment we'll send it out to Fall Creek High School where our broadcast crew is ready to bring you all the action of today's game. That's all coming up next. You've been tuned to Viking Pregame on NLWN 2.
Be right there. Wait. Use the shovel and bucket of water, remember? Drown, stir, drown, feel. Then make sure it's cool.
Where'd you learn that?
SmokeyBear.com. Brushed up on some tips before we left. Don't want to start a wildfire, right?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
You've been tuned to Viking Pregame with a look at today's Colfax Viking Boys game. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. Stay tuned. Coming up next is live Colfax Viking basketball. It happens to everyone eventually. Your computer goes on the fritz. Fear not, Slayton's Technology Services can help. When your computer decides to not cooperate, it can be very frustrating. Let Slayton's Technology Services keep you from wanting to drive your computer right off a cliff. Slayton's Technology Services supports business of all sizes. They offer assistance with managed anti-malware, encrypted email, fast tech support, data backup, and recovery, and more. Call Slayton's Technology Services at 715-864-2833 and get the IT help you desire. Slayton's Technology Services is the official IT service for the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
Colfax Viking Boys Basketball is on the air.
Takes the snap of the key, puts up the shot, he hit it! Fisher hits
The Northern Light Webcasting Network, along with NLWN2, is excited to bring you Colfax High School Boys Basketball.
Around, feeds it underneath Orion Nichols, and he put it up and in.
Yeah, great
Vikings back on top.
Join us as we follow the Vikings while they battle their way through the Dunn St. Croix Conference.
And they get it to Charbonneau, back to Larson. Three-pointer, he hit it! Trey Larson hit the three.
And now out to the gym for today's Colfax Viking basketball.
Good evening. The wall across the way says you're always welcome in cricket country, and welcome to tonight's game. Tonight we're at Fall Creek as the Colfax Viking boys have their final regular season game, or final non-conference game of the 24-25 season against the Crickets. I'm Jay Fall here with Rick Olson. Chris Olson is our videographer. Tonight's Colfax High School basketball game is brought to you by Dairy State Bank, where they're banking on relationships. Midwest Environmental Consultants, soil testers for Western Wisconsin. Anderson Bridges, who have been manufacturing prefabricated steel truss bridges since 1989. Slayton's Technology, IT provider for the Northern Light Webcasting Network. Menominee Eye and Optical with quality personalized care for you and your family. C&K Construction, concrete experts for the Chippewa Valley. And Mom's Restaurant and Pub in Colfax, comfort food the way Mom used to make it. Be sure to thank these fine sponsors for bringing you Colfax Viking basketball by doing some business with them soon. The Colfax Vikings bring an 8-5 Dunn St. Croix Conference record into tonight's game. They are in fourth place in the conference. They'll have their final conference game of the season on Friday night against Durand, Arkansas. That one at Colfax. We'll have that one right here. Viking pregame starts it off at 6:40, followed by live play-by-play here on NLWN2. The Fall Creek Crickets are third in the Western Culver Belt Conference. They have 8 wins and 4 losses, where their overall mark is 14 wins and 8 losses. So should be a good matchup here tonight. The Vikings into the locker room now to make final pregame preparations. We should let you know that the spring sports are starting pretty soon. Open practicing dates. Track starts March 10th, March 17th. Softball opens. Baseball on March 24th. And don't forget, we'll have Viking home baseball games on NLWN TV. First one scheduled for April 4th. And boys golf tees off on March 31st. Viking girls are opening their WIA regional play on Friday when they host the winner between the Cumberland Beavers and the Clear Lake Warriors. At this time, we're not planning on carrying that game on NLWN TV. The boys start tournament play next week. They have a regional opener Tuesday night, a week from tomorrow night, March 4th at Colfax. They host the number 9 seed, Shell Lake, and the reward for the winner of that one, they get to face number 1 seeded Clear Lake on Friday night. We'll have...
That's quite the reward, isn't it?
Well, they're number 1, you know.
Yeah, and if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best.
Yep, that's for sure. So we're just a few minutes away from tip-off tonight, and we will take a break and come back to open things up here in Cricket Country, Fall Creek. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on NLWN2.
January is Financial Wellness Month. Weight loss and physical fitness are common New Year's resolutions, but your finances could probably stand to be leaner as well. Dairy State Bank will post tips all month on Facebook and Twitter to help you get your finances in shape. You can also access a library of information anytime in our online education center. Visit dairystatebank.com and click on the Education Center under the Resources tab. Dairy State Bank, banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
When you have that craving for a home-cooked meal the way Mom used to make it, rest assured, you can still get that meal by going to Mom's Restaurant and Pub in Colfax. Mom's is open daily, serving breakfast and lunch, and don't forget dinner on Friday nights with Mom's famous fish fry. The coffee is always hot, the breakfast is always delicious, and lunch will put a smile on your face and in your stomach. 225 Bremer Avenue, Colfax. Call 715-962-4617. That's Mom's Restaurant and Pub.
Taking a look at some of the leaders for the Fall Creek Crickets, their leading scorer is Miles Schmidgall. He has 352 points. That's a 16-point per game average. Jackson Tangley is next with 215 points, or a 9.8 point per game average. Cullen Kramer next, 7.5 point average, 157 total. Corbin Sell, 6.6 points a game, 139 total, and Josh Wright has 141 points, but 6.4 points a game. Sell played one less game than Wright did. Leading rebounders for the Crickets as we about to get things going here. Schmidgall again, he's averaging 12 rebounds a game, 266 total rebounds. Corbin Sell next at 7.5 with 157 rebounds.
And Schmidgall is only a sophomore. Of course, we've got one of those on the Viking roster, too.
Yes, we do.
Although the other Twin Tower is not going to be available tonight.
Sunday night by Lauren O'Neill.
Stars through the perilous fight.
momentarily Charbonneau. And 6'5" freshman, number 30, Russell Polkowski. Head coach for the Vikings, Adrian Height. Turning line for the Bunker Base at the guards with 5 picks up by Jackson Tangley. Red Valley, 5'11" junior, number 12, Colin Kramer. Raising it away, 6'7" sophomore, Gavin Boyd, Adam Smithwell. At the boards, and 6'1" sophomore, number 5, Josh White. The other forward, and 6'3" junior, Kevin Newport. Head coach for the Vikings, Adrian Story.
Okay, we'll run those down quick for you again. The Vikings, it'll be Hovde, Fisher, Nichols, Charbonneau, and Polkowski. For Fall Creek, it's a 6'1" sophomore guard, Josh Wright. 5'10" sophomore guard, Jackson Tangley, number 11. Cullen Kramer, a 5'11" junior guard. Number 12, Corbin Sell, number 22. 6'3" junior forward, Miles Schmidgall, 6'7" sophomore forward. And both the big guys at the center were ready to go here as we're seated behind the scores table. Fall Creek's going to control the tip. It's tipped to Cullen Kramer. Fall Creek in home white with green numerals and trim, and Colfax road red, white numerals and trim. Up on top, it's Schmigdahl. He'll give and go to Kramer. Over on the far side right to Tangley. Back up on top to Kramer. Now just moving it around. Look to see if they can get something going in the middle here. Wright follows with a pass down to Kramer. Back out on top, Tangley. And a 12-foot shot. Schmigdahl doesn't go. And it's tipped by Nichols into the hands of Charbonneau. Hovde brings it up for Colfax. 17 minutes to go in the first half. Driving in is Nichols. Goes up and in with a basket. Colfax strikes first, 2-0 Vikings. Jackson Tangley to Sell. Right back over to Kramer. Tangley far corner. Schmidgall doubled up. Now out to Kramer on the top. He'll go up from the lane, rolls around. Polkowski trying to grab that one. They're going to say it went off Fall Creek last, so Colfax gets it.
Schmigdahl did get his arm in there and touched it just before it went out of bounds. It's going to be a big test for Russell Polkowski tonight.
Driving in, it is Hovde or Fisher, and Fisher with a layup on the right side is good. Colfax up 4-0. Tangley driving the lane now, stops. He'll go up over Hovde. Shot missed, rebounded by Nichols. Hovde takes it down the right side, gives it to Fisher. Fisher drives in, layup is good. 6-0 Colfax. Crickets bringing it up. Tangley moves toward the near corner, dishes it into Schmidgall. Back to Tangley, around to Kramer. Inside they go to Sell. Back out top of the key, Kramer. Three-pointer missed. Rebound, Nichols. 15.5 to go, first half. Fisher out to Polkowski. Was going to think about a three there. Down inside, it's going to go to Charbonneau, and it's stolen right away from him by Schmidgall.
Crickets are going to make you say that name a lot tonight.
Kramer on the baseline puts in the layup for the first points of the night for Fall Creek. 6-2 Colfax. Polkowski down to Fisher. Foul underneath, and that foul is going to be called on Cullen Kramer. That's the first foul of the game. Fisher was shooting, so he'll get a pair of free throws. Oh, that one in and out. No good. 6-2, Colfax leads Fall Creek. Second one goes in. Nothing but net. Colfax up by 5. Tangley across the FC in the center of the floor to Kramer. Up to Sell, who comes out from the baseline. Now back down there to Schmidgall. Schmidgall out in the far corner to Josh Wright. He takes a three-point shot, miss. Russell Polkowski right in front of Schmidgall gets that rebound. Inside they go to Charbonneau. Charbonneau's shot just short. Rebounded by Schmidgall. Stolen by Hovde. Up Polkowski. That catches the back iron. No. Sell with a rebound for Fall Creek. Up to Tangley. Crickets are going to set it up. Pass out to Wright. One-handed throw back to Tangley. He shoots a three ball. No good. Tipped around, but Schmidgall will get the rebound this time.
That foul is on the floor.
And that's going to be charged to Orion Nichols. So Wright to throw it in for Fall Creek. Goes in the corner. That's Tangley. Three-point shot missed. Rebounded Russell. Up the floor. It goes to Charbonneau. Reverse layup just doesn't go. Right idea. Josh Wright in the corner takes a three-point shot. Missed. Rebounded Schmidgall. Knocked away by Fisher into the hands of Hovde. Hovde down to Polkowski. Polkowski drives in with a layup and doesn't go. Schmidgall there to get the ball. He's driving it up the floor. Now he's going to go up on Polkowski and hit the basket. 7-4 Colfax as we approach 13 minutes left in the first half. Fisher drives in, up off the glass and good.
That's 7 points for Fisher so far.
Tangley across the center circle. Out to Wright, down in the near corner to Cullen Kramer. Backed out Schmidgall. Tangley drives in, puts it up from 8, missed. Rebounded, attempted by Polkowski. Polkowski with a nice block.
That's become a skill of his that he is really making pay. He had 5 the other night against Mondovi. There's his first one tonight.
Right out on top to Tangley. Kramer driving in now right. Off to Schmidgall. Kramer back out to Wright. Right inside Schmidgall. He's going to go up against Polkowski, and they're going to say that Russell fouled him.
Ball on Russell Polkowski.
So Miles Schmidgall, the tall sophomore for the Crickets on the free throw line, makes or misses the first. 9-4 Colfax. 12:15 left. First half. Second one goes in. Little pressure for Fall Creek. Vikings break it to Fisher. Fisher dumps it in to Nichols. Nichols back out to Fisher. Fisher's going to go up. His shot blocked to Cullen Kramer. He's going to take it to the other end. Transition, no. And rebounded by Nichols. 2 attempts by Fall Creek. No points. And Polkowski, I think, is going to be called for, 2-4.
No, the foul's on Schmidgall.
Ah, okay.
He gave Hovde a little bit of a shove when the ball was loose.
Inbounds to Hovde. 2 fouls apiece. Polkowski, Hovde to Fisher, down in the corner to Charbonneau. Charlie's our profile player at halftime. We're going to have a jump ball. It's possession Colfax. Ryan Nichols will throw it in for the Vikings. Vikings into Fisher. We're going to have a 2-shot foul. That foul is going to be charged on Corbin Sell of the Crickets. That is his first and the third foul for the Crickets. So Aiden Fisher to shoot a pair. First one, good. Viking girls open WIA regional play Friday night. They host the winner between Cumberland and Clear Lake. This time, not planning on carrying that game on NLWN TV. Well, Fisher dumped in the second free throw, and it's an 11-5 Colfax lead. Schmidgall going up, misses the shot. Rebound Sell, he can't get it to go, and we have a foul in there. Colfax or Fall Creek going to use their height. Colfax is going to try to take some of that away, and the foul is going to be called on Polkowski. That's his second. 3 team fouls apiece. That puts Corbin Sell, 6'3" junior, forward on the line for Fall Creek. First shot, good. 11-6 Colfax. Trey Larson comes into the game to give Charlie Charbonneau a break. Sell sends the second one skyward. That one good. 11-7. Colfax with the lead across the timeline to Trey Larson. Larson into Fisher. Fisher, an open lane to the basket. Can't make the layup. Put back. That doesn't go either. And Fall Creek comes up with it. Both teams making an effort to try, but, you know, they that one goes in by Miles Schmidgall. Out to Nichols, to Hovde. Hovde with a pass. It gets deflected upwards and into the hands of Schmidgall. Schmidgall out to right. Tries a shot and getting in the way, Trey Larson. Coming up with the ball, Ryan Nichols. He'll bounce it to Russell Polkowski across the line to Hovde. Down in the corner to Larson. He'll look at a three-pointer. And getting tied up, he's going to go forward with it. Doesn't go. Rebounded Schmidgall. 10 minutes left first half. Fall Creek with the ball. Tangley from the free throw line. Short. Rebounded Hovde. Hovde guarded by Josh Wright. Hovde drives right. Flips it in the corner to Trey Larson. Ryan Nichols looked at one. He's going to go up to the basket, and he is fouled on the way in.
Foul on Josh Wright.
Foul's going to be on Josh Wright. So Ryan Nichols with a pair of free throws. First one, no good. 4 fouls for the Crickets, 3 for the Vikings so far. Now checking in Nate Edwards for Russell Polkowski. Nate Edwards, a 5'11" junior. Fisher, or check that, Nichols makes the second one. And it's 12-9 Vikings. Tangley gives it to Schmidgall, loses the ball, but gets back there to get it.
That was those sneaky little hands of Hovde.
J.C. Hillman drives, miss, put back, good by Evan Seidling, a 6'1" junior forward. 12-11 Colfax. Down the floor it goes to Fisher for 3, short. And right there to get it, J.C. Hillman. Or Jace Hillman. Hillman flips it back to Seidling. Out to Tangley. Schmidgall going up against him. Nichols makes a move, gets in with a layup on the baseline.
That's 7 points for Schmidgall.
And it is 13-12 with the lead, Fall Creek. Hovde loses the ball, picking it up, Kramer. Kramer goes up for the shot, missed. Ball loose, rebounded Tangley. Out to Hillman. Hillman for three, makes it. And we have a 4-point Fall Creek lead now. 16-12 over Colfax. 8:12 remaining first half. You're watching Viking
To get
basketball
your lawn or
on
garden to perform at
NLWN.
attracting what you want, you first need to know what your soil is working with. That's where Midwest Environmental Consultants can help. Their soil testing service can give you a complete rundown on your soil's nutrition and health. They test for nitrogen levels, phosphorus, potash, micronutrients, minerals, pH, and organic matter. Let Midwest Environmental Consultants put you in control of your soil's health. Call Midwest Environmental Consultants at 608-468-2067. That's Midwest Environmental Consultants, serving Western Wisconsin.
Viking boys wrap up their regular season Thursday night at home when they host the Durand, Arkansas Panthers in a conference matchup that could determine the Dunn St. Croix title. Coverage begins with Viking pregame at 6:40, followed by live play-by-play action. That's right here on NLWN2. Jay Fall, Rick Olson, Chris Olson with you.
Durand, Arkansas is playing Spring Valley tonight. Both teams are 11-1 and leading the conference.
And ball goes back to the Crickets. Tangley comes up with it to Hillman. Edwards trying to cover Schmidgall, and he is called for a foul. Coming in to cover him now, Charlie Charbonneau back in. Nope, they're going to have Nichols. We'll switch Nichols on to Schmidgall. Seidling goes to Cohen Tum. Schmidgall. Tangley scoop, layup, missed, rebounded by Nichols. 7.5 minutes to go, first half. Nichols, top of the key. And three-point shot, bangs around for Charlie Charbonneau, doesn't go in. Schmidgall, rebound for Fall Creek. Tangley, Seidling, out to Schmidgall. Schmidgall is going to make a move, go up and put it in on the left side. And it's 18-12, Fall Creek. Hovde out to Fisher, to Nichols. Nichols drives back to Hovde. Hovde to Nichols. Inside it goes to Aiden Fisher. He's going to try to put it up, and he's fouled on the way up. Russell Polkowski going back in the game. That foul charge to Evan Seidling of the Crickets. Corbin Sell now coming back in the game for Fall Creek. And
Russ Polkowski also in for the Vikings.
Not a shooting foul, so goes underneath for Colfax. Out to Fisher. Fisher to Hovde, to Polkowski. Out to Fisher, gives it to Nichols. Driving in, Fisher inside. Having some handling trouble. Charbonneau. Hovde's shot doesn't go, and it's back in the hands of the Crickets. Tangley to Seidling. Seidling, ball handling trouble. Puts it up and in, though, right off the window. It's 20-12, Fall Creek. 6 minutes to go, first half. Down underneath, Fisher. Fisher tries to go up, and that ball knocked away. It's going to be jump ball, and it's possession, Fall Creek. Viking boys open tournament play next week, Tuesday, Number 8 Colfax hosts number 9 Shell Lake, and the winner gets to play number 1 Clear Lake. Braylon Prorock now into the game. From the corner, sidling, three-pointer miss. Polkowski trying to pull that one in and just can't corral it. Goes out of bounds, and the Crickets will get it underneath their basket. Inbounds to Schmidgall. Again from the corner, sidling, three-pointer missed. Polkowski gets that one. Goes to Hubdy. Fisher and Hubdy to Polkowski. Fisher feeds Polkowski, and he tried to stuff it and send it over the rim.
Yeah, he got into his leap, and he was a little bit beyond the top of his leap when he caught the ball, so it made for an off-balance shot.
So that foul going to be charged to Cohen Tum of Fall Creek. That's the 6th foul for the Crickets, his first. As they Hubby in, ball gets loose, or Nichols comes up with it. Nichols to Charbonneau. Back to Nichols, three-point attempt. Catches the front iron, no good. Rebounded by Braylon Prorock of the Crickets. Prorock with the ball, fires off to his right to right. Sell over to Tum. Driving along the baseline, back out on top. To right on the wing. Over to Sell, back to Prorock. Schmidgall looked at one, decided he wasn't going to take it. Prorock to right. Back to Prorock. Right in the far corner, Colfax doing a good job of covering all the possibilities. Right three-point shot missed. Rebound Schmidgall goes up over Polkowski and puts in the bucket. It's 22-12, Fall Creek.
That's 11 for Schmidgall.
Up the floor to Polkowski. Polkowski, Nichols, Fisher, three ball, airballs it. And we have 3:32 left to go in the first half. It's Fall Creek 22, Colfax 12 in non-conference boys basketball action. Prorock and Wright out of the backcourt. Wright gets the pass, first pass over. Schmidgall driving on Polkowski, up over the top and in. And timeout called by Colfax. It's a full timeout. 3:14 to go first half. Fall Creek 24, Colfax 12. You're watching Viking Boys Basketball on NLWN 2.
Anderson Bridges, located in Colfax, Wisconsin, has been manufacturing prefabricated steel truss bridges since 1989. With hundreds of bridges supplied nationwide, we suspect you've crossed our path. It may have been on a pedestrian or bicycle bridge, or how about a snowmobile, ATV, or golf course bridge? Anderson Bridges is likely to have manufactured it. Founded in 1989, Anderson Bridges has been a family-owned company since its beginning and are proud to support the Colfax Vikings.
NLWN2 is once again excited to be your host for Colfax High School Boys Basketball throughout the 2024 through 2025 season.
This is what we came here for!
Our next game will be on Thursday, February 27th, when the Vikings play host to the Durand, Arkansas Panthers. Coverage begins with Viking pregame at 6:40 p.m. with live play-by-play to follow. That's live Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on Thursday, February 27th on NLWN2.
Well, with the winter sports season winding down, spring sports cranking up here. Practice starting March 10th for track, 17th for softball, 24th for baseball. We'll have Viking home baseball games on NLWN TV. First one on April 4th, and boys golf teeing off March 31st. Fall Creek steals it away. Schmidgall up on top to Prorock. To right. Schmidgall back over to Prorock. He goes up on the baseline, hits the side of the backboard. Kramer goes up. That shot too hard. Russell Polkowski pulls down the boards. 2:35 remaining. First half. Theo Hovde fires it to Orion Nichols into Aiden Fisher. Fisher out on top to Polkowski. And Nichols, that 15-footer in and out. Josh Wright ends up over to Kramer on the far side, out to Schmidgall. He's going to drive on Polkowski. Out to Prorock. Braylon Prorock, 3 points. 26-12, 27-12. Fall Creek leading Colfax. Theo Hovde dribbling it across the timeline to Russell Polkowski. Errant pass. Can't get it over to either player. And it goes out of bounds. So Charlie Charbonnet's coming out and Trey Larson's going to come in. 1:39 left in the first half. Charlie Charbonnet is our Viking profile player of halftime, so stay tuned for that. And we have a two-pointer for Corbin Sell. He was inside the arch, I think. 29-12, Fall Creek. Polkowski out to Hovde, bounces it to Fisher. Fisher's going to make a move, has to pass it backward to Larson. Bounces over to Fisher, and Fisher is fouled, and that is the 7th one for Fall Creek. So that is going to put Aiden Fisher on the line for 1+1.
The foul was on Josh Wright. It's his second personal.
And Fisher makes number 1.
That breaks an 18-0 run that the Fall Creek Crickets were on.
Oh. And second one doesn't go. It's rebounded by Miles Schmidgall. Schmidgall stops, pass to Wright. He gets it back. Schmidgall going to drive in, back outside the arch to Wright. Inside it goes to Schmidgall, and he'll put up the bunny jumper. And it's 31-13 Fall Creek.
That's 15 for Schmidgall.
And 3 for Russell Polkowski. 31-16. 35 seconds left in the first half. Tangley back and forth with Wright, inside to Schmidgall. Back outside the arch, Wright on the wing, opposite side, Kramer. Fall Creek going to hold out for the last shot. They have a 15-point lead on the Colfax Vikings. Jackson Tangley dribbling it. He'll fire it over to Cullen Kramer. Back in the middle to Miles Schmidgall. He'll put it up, rolls off, no good. Rebounded and back up by Kramer, but and it looks like we're going to have a foul to end the first half. That's going to be charged to Orion Nichols. That is his second. And so Cullen Kramer is going to get a pair of free throws. First one rolls over the front rim and in. Kramer misses the second. So at halftime, the Fall Creek Crickets lead the Colfax Vikings in non-conference boys basketball by a score of 32-16. Stay tuned now for Viking halftime. You're watching boys basketball of the Colfax Vikings on NLWN 2.
at NLWN TV are excited to take you out to the ballpark for Colfax Viking Baseball. Our first game will be on Friday, April 4th when the Vikings host the Owen Whitney Blackhawks. Our coverage begins with the Bullpen Show, where we'll warm you up for baseball action starting at 4:40 p.m. That's Colfax High School Baseball on Friday, April 4th.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Time now for Viking Halftime, with today's Viking profile and other halftime entertainment. That's coming up right after this.
Time now for Viking Profile, where we take a closer look at one of the Colfax Viking players. And now, Viking Profile.
Today on Viking Profile, we're going to talk with Charlie Charbonneau. And Charlie, what year are you here at Colfax?
I'm a junior.
Okay. Now, we know that you play basketball, but are you involved in any other activities here at school?
I do cross country and track.
Okay. One of those long runners, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right, because you need legs for basketball.
Yeah.
All right. Now, when did you start playing basketball, and what kind of an experience has that been?
I started about third grade. It was tough. My team wasn't very good, but we stuck together, and we've really grown as a team.
And that's the important part, right?
Yeah, really.
Yeah. And what is the most important thing that you've learned playing basketball?
Probably just to have fun. You know, you're all one team. Play together.
Okay. So when you're not playing basketball or you're not here at school, what are some other things that keep you interested or occupied?
I play guitar and I bow hunt.
All right. Here are the famous rapid fire questions. Pie, ice cream, cake, or cookies?
Ice cream.
What kind?
Vanilla.
Okay, because you can do anything with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I get that. Burger, brat, or hot dog?
Burger.
What do you want on that burger?
Bacon and cheese.
Okay, all right. Favorite color and why?
Blue, so it looks good.
It looks good, okay. And if it looks good, it's going to make you look good, right?
Exactly.
Okay, I get it. If you could have a superpower, what do you think that might be?
Flight.
Flight. Why do you think you might fly?
Well, it just seems awesome.
It does. Yeah, there's a freedom involved with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. But if you have that superpower of being able to fly, of course you have to have a superhero name to go with it. So what's Charlie Charbonneau's superhero name?
How about Super C?
Super C. All right. You'd have a big C on your chest?
Yeah, exactly. Like Colfax.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Favorite NBA team?
Bucks.
And your favorite collegiate?
Badgers.
Okay. Now, if you could sit down and pick the brain of any sports personality from any time in history, from any sport, who might that be and why?
Shaq.
Shaq would be an interesting one. I think he'd be a fun guy to talk to.
Exactly.
Okay. We're talking with Charlie Charbonneau on Viking Profile. And Charlie, what are your plans for after high school?
College. That's about it.
Do you have any idea what you want to go into?
Nope.
Okay, you still have some time to figure that part of it out. How about a shout out to the family?
Shout out to my dad, my mom, and my brother Ben.
All right, when people come to watch Viking games, where are they going to find you on the floor?
Probably hitting the three-pointer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Popping it from the outside.
Yep.
Okay. We want to thank Charlie Charbonneau for joining us today on Viking Profile. Coming up next, more Viking Halftime.
You've been listening to Viking Profile. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. So if you want to talk to your kids, you have to get it trending.
No, you're doing it wrong.
Let's go.
Can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
You've been tuned to Viking Halftime. Stay tuned. Coming up is second half action of today's Viking game on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV.
Elmer loves to giggle. Elmer's mommy told him that laughing can help when you have a big feeling, like when you feel happy. Make sure to celebrate when you're happy and laugh it out. Love your mind.
Welcome back to Fall Creek, where Rush and the Doobie Brothers are part of the halftime music. Can't help but love it. Yes, it does. Sure does. This game tonight, Fall Creek leading Colfax 32-16. Rick, let's take a look at the numbers so far.
Well, first of all, for the Fall Creek Crickets, they're being led by none other than Miles Schmigdahl. He's got almost half their points tonight. He's got 15. He's followed by Evan Seidling and Corbin Sell. They each have 4 points. And then Braylon Prorock, Jace Hillman, and Cullen Kramer each have 3. That's 32 points for them. Vikings are being led by Aiden Fisher, who has 10 points. Also on the board in the first half were Ryan Nichols and Russell Pukowski. Each of them had 3 points, so 32-16 is the halftime score.
The JV Crickets won tonight, 68-30. And Colfax Vikings looking to get back into this one. Some good shooting and rebounding by the Fall Creek Crickets, but the Vikings have had their share of them as well.
What's frustrating is the Vikings have had some real good looks at the basket, and it hits all of the rim, but won't go in.
Right. Yeah. Cover a lot more ground than you want it to.
Although you got to give Fall Creek defense credit, because their defense is throwing the shot off just enough that it's hitting that much of the rim.
So that we will start off the second half with the Vikings having the ball. And to throw it in will be Nichols to Hubdy. And we're underway. Going the other way, going right to left. Polkowski going up. And he got a push from Miles Schmidgall as he went up for the shot, so he's going to get 2. And that is the second foul on Schmidgall. So Russell sends up the first one. That one banged around the sides and dropped through, which was good. 32-17. Fall Creek. Polkowski's second goes in. So Fall Creek will have the ball for the first time here in the second half. Driving up the floor with a Tangley. Tangley out to right, down on the baseline to Sell. Back out on top. Over to Schmidgall. He'll fire it to Sell. Driving in, pulling back. Tangley will pass it down to Sell. And Nichols trying to get that ball knocked away. Schmidgall has to come back to rescue it. Over to Kramer. 3-point shot. Tangley drains it. Or Josh Wright, sorry. Josh Wright, number 5. 32-18.
First 2 points for Wright tonight.
Hubdy down the near side. Going to wait for somewhere to go. Nichols inside to Fisher. Out to Nichols. Nichols is going to go out to Fisher. Near corner. Bounces off. Fighting for the rebound. Getting it. Saving it from going out of bounds. Charbonneau gets it to Polkowski. Back out in the corner into Fisher. Fisher going up and good. He put it right in. Even with Schmidgall standing right there. 16:20 left. Second half, 35-20, Fall Creek. Wright, Polkowski, a nice block of Wright's shot.
That's number 2 for Russell tonight.
Inbound Schmidgall. Back out on top to Tangley, and another 3-pointer for Wright. 38-20, Fall Creek. Pass nearly stolen away. Fisher comes up with it. He'll fire it over to Charbonneau. Charbonneau goes in. Open Hubdy. Hubdy's shot missed. Rebounded Corbin Sell. Tangley to Kramer, up to Schmidgall. Tangley pulls up. Shot missed. Rebounded Orion Nichols. Colfax. Down to Aiden Fisher. Fisher down in the corner, out to Polkowski. 3, bounces out, no good. Tangley, rebound for Fall Creek, going to take it to the other end. And that one is going to be blocked by Hubdy, but they're going to say he was the last one to touch it.
That's an interesting call, because I thought Hubdy hit it down off the head of Tangley before it went out of bounds. But that's not the way the guys in striped shirts saw it.
Tangley Opposite side to right, back outside the arch to Schmidgall. Right to Kramer, back down to Sell. And they're going to keep it outside till they've got a good look. Sell. Tangley. Schmidgall gets it back to Tangley. He's going to go in. And they're going to give the ball to Fall Creek. You probably heard some thoughts. I know it's hard to hear thoughts, but you can hear on that one. And now we've got a violation on Fall Creek.
Carried the ball.
Carried it, yep.
Some people might think that was a makeup call, but we would never say that.
No, of course not. Driving in, Charbonneau. Off in the corner, pulling it in, Polkowski to Fisher. Nichols in the lane's going to go up in between the two big guys. Hovde's going to pop it up there and put it in. 38-22. Fall Creek. Tangley. Over to Kramer. Kramer shot missed. Reload. That one doesn't go. Schmidgall going to get his own rebound. He's going to try one more time. Third time's a charm. Well, it was his second, but it was the first or the third second chance, and Fall Creek up 40-22. Down inside Fisher. Fisher going up for a layup, and he is fouled on the way in by Miles Schmidgall. That is his third.
One of the things I'm seeing the Vikings doing is they are driving right at Schmidgall. I think they're in the hopes of getting him into foul trouble.
First free throw good for Aiden Fisher. And he will get a second. Thursday night, Colfax boys wrap up their regular season hosting Durand, Arkansas. Could be conference title implications. Second free throw good for Aiden Fisher. Coverage starts 6:40. Viking pregame. Live play-by-play follows right here on NLWN2. Out to Tangley. Tangley out to Hillman. Big rebound for a three-point attempt. Russell Polkowski will get that one. Gives to Theo Hovde. Back to Polkowski over on the left wing. Into Fisher. Fisher up from 15. Short. Rebounded. Jace Hillman. Jackson Tangley up top. Making a move on Trey Larson. And then shot goes up short by Corbin Sell. Hovde comes up with that one. He'll fire it to Fisher. Fisher goes right inside. Layup is good.
And he gets a +1 maybe.
Yep. Yeah, looks like it. Foul's going to be on Corbin Sell. And Fall Creek wants a timeout. 13:09 remaining second half. Fall Creek 40, Colfax 26. You're watching Viking basketball on NLWN 2.
C&K Construction is your source for high-quality concrete and construction work in the Chippewa Valley. Established in 2014, C&K Construction in Chippewa Falls is a leading concrete contractor proud to serve Eau Claire, Altoona, Menominee, and surrounding areas. Specializing in concrete construction, excavating, flatwork poured walls, and much more, they're right for all of your concrete needs. Call C&K Construction in Chippewa Falls at 715-559-1335.
Menominee Eye and Optical can help you see the world for the beautiful place it is. Doctors Nicholas and Marianne Comro provide comprehensive and emergency eye care for all, including pediatric and special needs patients. Whether it's examination for glasses to cataract or LASIK care, or diagnosis and management of macular degeneration, and so much more. In addition, Menominee Eye and Optical's experienced opticians will help guide you to the highest quality eyewear for the best value. That's Menominee Eye and Optical, 520 Wilson Avenue in Menominee, where they specialize in quality personalized care for you and your family.
In fact, Jay, I'm going to be visiting Menominee Eye and Optical tomorrow morning to pick up my new glasses, and I'll actually be able to see what I'm doing. I mean, it's nothing like the blind leading the blind here.
On the free throw line for the +1, Aiden Fisher, good. 40-27, Fall Creek.
Second half points for Fisher.
Tangley to Kramer. Down to Seidling in the corner. To Hillman. Hillman trying to go up on the baseline. Good defense. Hovde out to Seidling. Hillman's going to try it again opposite side. He'll toss it over to Kramer. Tangley looks past a cell. Back out to Seidling. And they're just going to keep moving until they find something that they like. Chase Hillman outside the arch. And ball stolen by Orion Nichols. And Fisher, three-pointer miss, trying to get it Polkowski. And it ends up in the hands of Evan Seidling. Seidling taking it to the other end, stops. Back to Tangley, to Hillman. Hillman out to Sell. Back over on the right side to Tangley. Inside to Sell. Sell back out to Hillman. Back to Seidling. Seidling's going to go in, stop. And have to fire it out to Hillman. Hillman goes up. And we're going to have a foul. Foul's called on Trey Larson.
That's the first foul on the Vikings this half.
From the corner, three-point attempt. Seidling no good, but the putback.
Colin Kramer.
Theo Hovde. Hovde to Polkowski. Back over to Fisher. Fisher to Polkowski. Tries a dunk. Doesn't too hard. And now we're going to they're going to say he stepped out of bounds with the ball. Going
or
to Fall
dribbled
Creek.
It out of bounds or something. Something happened over in the corner in front of the girls there.
Tangley to Kramer. Out to Seidling. Shot missed. Rebound to Hovde of Colfax. Hovde down to Trey Larson. Larson back to Hovde to Larson. Larson for three. Bounces out. Fisher trying to get the rebound. Fighting for it on the floor. And we're going to have a jump ball. We had a log roll there as well. And it's possession Fall Creek.
State Wrestling Tournament is coming up next weekend. I think that was a warm-up for it.
Yeah. Tangley to Hillman. Hillman holding it high. Back to Sell. Over to Tangley. And Fisher is going to be called for a foul as Fall Creek was going to try to get the ball to Colin Kramer.
That's only his first and only the second on the Vikings this half.
Trey Larson steals the inbounds pass, gives it to Fisher. Fisher goes up for the layup and is caught on the arm by Jace Hillman of Fall Creek. So Aiden Fisher, 2 free throws, makes the first. Jay Fall, Rick Olson, Chris Olson, videographer with you tonight. From Fall Creek, Fisher's second, bounces around and goes in. 10:21 remaining, second half. Fall Creek 42. Colfax 29.
Fisher's 9 for 11 from the line.
Sell to Hillman. Down underneath. Evan sidling. And a foul is going to be called on Russell Polkowski. No, they're going to call that on Orion Nichols. 10:05 remaining, second half.
That's the third foul on Nichols.
That free throw no good. Seidling's going to get the second one. And Seidling puts it in. 43-29 Fall Creek. 10 minutes to go second half. Trey Larson outside the arch on the far side. Bounces it to Theo Hovde. Hovde to Fisher. Fisher in the lane, goes up. Shot blocked by Sell. Fisher goes up again. Gets a foul that time. Foul's going to be called on Corbin Sell. That is Sell's third foul, and back on the free throw line is Aiden Fisher for 2. That one good. Colfax girls open WIA regional play Friday night. They host the Cumberland Clear Lake winner. This time we're not planning on carrying that game on NLWN TV. And foul coming over to the scorer's table on Colfax, Aiden Fisher. That's Fisher's second. Driving, Kramer. Down underneath to Sell, left an open path on the baseline, and he puts it in. 45-30, Fall Creek by 15. Three-pointer, Trey Larson, no good. Put back good by Ryan Nichols. In the backcourt, Tangley. Polkowski guarding him. Tangley fires it to Hillman. Hillman goes up. Shot blocked, but Sell gets the rebound, puts it up and in. 47-32, Fall Creek still by 15. Ball to Aiden Fisher. And he draws the foul from Corbin Sell. That is his fourth.
Schmigdahl checking back in, along with Josh Wright and Cohen Tum, all for the Crickets.
Nichols fires it to Fisher. Fisher flips it back to Larson, out to Hovde. To Larson, to Hovde, back over to Fisher. Back over to Fisher again. He goes up and tries to get the ball inside to Nichols, and it gets there. Nichols gets it back over to Fisher. Fisher going to go up in the land of Giants. That one's a short. And Josh Wright with a rebound for Fall Creek. Cohen Tum, three-pointer, rolls off, no good. Rebounded Cullen Kramer. And we'll have a jump ball. That is possession Colfax.
Should have been a two-point takedown for Nichols that time. He got him good.
Fisher to Hovde, over to Larson, back to Fisher, far side, three-pointer, good! 47-35. Colfax trails Fall Creek by 12.
23 points for Aiden Fisher tonight.
Tangley to Tum, back out to Wright. Driving in, Schmidgall goes up over Polkowski and makes the bucket. 49-35 Fall Creek. 7.5 minutes to go in the game. Hovde out to Larson. Aiden Fisher to Polkowski. Three-pointer rolls off, rebounded Cullen Kramer. Schmidgall up top to right. Over to Tangley on the far side. He'll dribble it in. Trey Larson guarding him. Out to Kramer down in the corner. He'll bring it out. Pass it to right. To Tangley. Down on the baseline. Schmidgall. Shot no good. Rebounded. Aiden Fisher. All the way down the court to Trey Larson. Larson down in trying to get it back to Hovde. Hovde slides by him. Fall Creek gets the ball.
Pass was a little bit behind him.
Tum to Kramer. Kramer being guarded by Fisher. He'll flip it over to back to Tum. And back out to right. Kramer. Fisher trying to knock it away, and now it does get knocked away by Colfax. Up the floor, Trey Larson. Larson out to Fisher. Fisher going to go up, or trying to go around, knocks it out of bounds, going back to the Crickets. Boys wrap up their regular season with a conference game Thursday night at home against Durand, Arkansas. That has playoff or conference title implications for the Dunn St. Croix Conference. Viking pregame starts it off at 6:40. Play-by-play follows here on NLWN 2. Schmidgall to Tangley, back out to Tum. Tangley being guarded by Trey Larson. Braylon Prorock in. They get the ball into Schmidgall. Another nice block by Polkowski. And we're going to have a foul charge to Russell Polkowski. That is his third. That's the fifth foul of the half for Colfax. Into Schmidgall. He gets it back from right. Back outside into Prorock. Tangley. Three-pointer. Prorock. Bounces off big. Schmidgall gets the rebound, or Schmidgall. Jackson Tangley. Over to Braylon Prorock. And it's knocked out of bounds off Colfax. .504 remaining in the game. Fall Creek 49, Colfax 35. And it goes to Tangley. Tangley out to Tum. To right. Prorock over to Tangley. Schmidgall comes up from the baseline. We'll hand it off to Tum. Tangley will drive in, flips it out to Tum. Right. Into Prorock. Doesn't have a shot, out to Josh Wright. Prorock going to make a move, goes around Nichols, and puts in a layup on the right side. 51-35, Fall Creek. Trey Larson, top of the key to Fisher. Corner to Nichols, going inside to Hovde. Hovde comes back out on top to take it. They'll set it up again. Larson to Prokowski to Fisher. Out to Nichols for three. Rolls off, no good. Rebounded Josh Wright. Inside 4 minutes left. Tangley down to Schmidgall. Polkowski watching him very closely, following him right along in the man-to-man. Out to Tum. Tangley near side to Prorock. Down underneath to the big man, back out to Wright. And Fall Creek going to burn up some time here. Schmidgall goes up, and the shot's blocked. It's blocked out of bounds. It goes, they're going to say it last went off of Miles Schmidgall, and Schmidgall said he took one in the side of the head.
By the way, we have a score from Spring Valley. It's Durand leading the Durand Arkansas Panthers leading the Spring Valley Cardinals 40-32 to try to break up that tie for first place in the Dun St. Croix.
Fall Creek with the ball, right to Kramer. Schmidgall to Josh Wright. And Wright puts in a layup on the baseline. It is 53-35 Fall Creek. 2:45 left in the game. Hubdy. Out to Larson. Larson back to Hubdy. Trying to get it into Fisher. Deflected. Schmidgall trying to get a pass into Braylon Prorock. Got it in front of him. Went out of bounds. Nichols to Hubdy. Over to Fisher. Polkowski. Fisher in. Nichols drives in between the two of them. Going to go up off the side. No good. Rebounded Miles Schmidgall. Approaching 2 minutes remaining in the game. Tangley to Kramer. And the foul's going to be called on Aiden Fisher going over his back. That's Aiden Fisher's fourth foul. And Trey Larson limping off the floor with something with his upper leg. Josh Wright's going to throw it in for Fall Creek. 2:02 left. Wright alley-oops it in to Schmidgall, and he'll just put in a layup on the left side. And Fall Creek takes a timeout. 1:58 to go in the game. Fall Creek 53, Colfax 35. You're watching Viking Boys Basketball on NLWN 2.
January is Financial Wellness Month. Weight loss and physical fitness are common New Year's resolutions, but your finances could probably stand to be leaner as well. Dairy State Bank will post tips all month on Facebook and Twitter to help you get your finances in shape. You can also access a library of information anytime in our online education center. Visit DairyStateBank.com and click on the Education Center under the Resources tab. Dairy State Bank, banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
Reserves in now. Isaiah Ensminger in. He passes it to Nate Edwards. Into Levi Edward. Over to Ensminger. Trying to get it into Grant Paulus. And ball went out of bounds off Fall Creek. Fall Creek has reserves in as well. Caden Prock. Bryson Elkins, Ian Hopper, Ethan Westrate, and Marcus Kleinhans. Inside they try to go to Paulus. Paulus tries to fire a pass up off the floor and overshot Isaiah Ensminger.
Kept the people in the bleachers over there awake, though.
Yeah. Be aware of flying objects. Westrate on the floor to Prock. And coming up with a pass, Nate Edwards. Edwards going to drive down there, and ball is knocked out of bounds off Fall Creek.
Bryson Elkins got his hand in there and knocked it away.
Nate Edwards tosses it in. Three-point shot. Elwood missed. Rebounded. Fall Creek's Prock. Prock to Elkins. Elkins over on the right side goes up, and it looks like a basket for Marcus Kleinhans, number 34. 57-35 Fall Creek. And losing the ball, Colfax driving. It's Bryson Elkins, and we're going to have that's Bryson Elkins that scored that one. for Fall Creek. Ensminger trying to get a pass in, knocked down by Prock. Over to Elkins. Elkins puts in another layup on the left side. 61-35 Fall Creek. As Colfax is just going to keep it up on top. And the Fall Creek Crickets defeat the Colfax Vikings by a score of 61-35. And the JV Crickets won tonight 68-30. So we invite you to stay tuned for our post-game show. That's coming your way next. You're watching Viking Boys Basketball on NLWN 2.
If your estate isn't looking quite estate-like, let Midwest Environmental Consultants landscape your estate right up to snuff with installation of retaining walls, brick patios, foundation planting beds, and so much more. Then they'll keep it that way with their expert lawn care service. Call Midwest Environmental Consultants at 608-468-2067. Let Midwest Environmental Consultants help make your estate the showplace of the neighborhood.
You need some help?
Your tow chains are a little loose. Could spark a wildfire. I could show you how to secure them properly if you'd like.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Anytime. You should check out SmokeyBear.com. They've got a bunch of tips on wildfire prevention.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
You have been tuned to Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. This copyrighted production of the Northern Light Webcasting Network and Colfax High School is intended for the enjoyment of the viewing and listening audience. Any broadcast, rebroadcast, or reproduction in part or in whole in any form without the express written consent of the Northern Light Webcasting Network, LLC, and Colfax High School is prohibited. Stay tuned. Coming up next is Viking Postgame with a look back at today's game.
In November of 2018, our daughter Jana passed away. The outpouring of support was unbelievable. Support that we received inspired us to start a foundation called the Jana Kelly Memorial Foundation. And through that foundation,
we've given back in a lot of different ways, through projects, through different other charities that we've supported. We like to help Humane Association, and the Ronald McDonald House is something that's very near and dear to us. We've also recently, this last year, we actually built a tiny house. It's really exciting to be able to give back in different ways.
To learn more or to help financially, would find us on Facebook or www.janakelly.com.
Time now for Viking Postgame, a wrap-up of today's Colfax Viking Boys game. And now, Viking Postgame.
Welcome back tonight. Fall Creek 61, Colfax 35 in varsity action. So that brings the Colfax record to 10-12 overall, while Fall Creek improves to 15-8. Both teams head into tournament action next week. In a key Dunn St. Croix game being played tonight, Durand, Arkansas leads Spring Valley 45-34 with under 3 minutes to go. And of course, Durand, Arkansas is the next opponent, the final regular season opponent for the Colfax Viking boys, and that's Thursday night. We'll have that game right for you here on NLWN2. And let's see, Nick Height is making his way out, and we will talk to him briefly. Okay. Nick, thanks for stopping up and talking with us. A tough one tonight. Got off to a good start.
Yeah, I think their physicality wore us down. You know, we just gave up too many offensive rebounds. That's a solid team. Going to be a tough out, you know, come playoff time. Those two bigs down low, going to be a lot to handle. So I think their press into their 2-3 gave us fits. But that's something that we're going to see a lot here in the next couple weeks with Durand on Thursday. Shell Lake kind of runs a 1-1-3. So we got to really, really hunker down and prepare for those things.
Yeah, so it certainly doesn't get any easier Thursday night, wrapping up the conference with Durand, Arkansas, and they were leading the Spring Valley Cardinals at the last check.
I did hear that, yeah. So, hopefully Logan can get healthy. That's going to be a big part. If with that size and things like that, defensively we're a lot better. Especially tonight, I think it's a completely different game just with our rebounding ability. So we gotta stop turning the ball over. Just too many turnovers, and hopefully we'll have a good couple days of practice. It'll be nice to get back into school in a normal routine, and then senior night on Thursday. So,
okay. A lot of fun. We look forward to it.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Nick.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
All right. Nick Height, head coach of the Colfax Vikings. As the Vikings fall tonight 61-35. Rick, let's take a look at the numbers.
It works better if I press the button. Funny how end of the season I still have to remember to do that. Taking a look at the Vikings first, scoring was pretty limited for the Vikings as far as only 4 people put points on the board. They were led by Aiden Fisher, who had 23, and a lot of those came from the charity stripe. Ryan Nichols and Russell Pekowski each had 5 points, and Theo Hovde had 2 points. For the Fall Creek Crickets, they were led by Miles Schmigdahl, who had 23 points. He was followed by Josh Wright, who had 8. All of those were in the second half. And by Corbin Sell, who had 8. He split his between the 2 halves. Then we have Cullen Kramer with 2, Evan Seidling with 1, Bryson Elkins with 4, and Marcus Kleinhans with 2. And so that made it 61-35 in favor of the Fall Creek Crickets.
Crickets now 15-8. Vikings are 10-12, and continues to be challenging for the Viking boys. Thursday night, they host Durand, Arkansas, who as of the last check was breaking that tie for the conference lead.
Yeah, it looks like Durand, Arkansas Panthers are going to end up winning that game. But that just makes the stakes higher for them on Thursday, because now the Viking game is almost a must-win game for them to hang on to the conference title, because losing it, they would have to share it, and they don't want to do that.
No. So it'll be a good matchup, and our final game of the regular season for the Colfax boys, and it tips off at 7:15 at Colfax. Our coverage begins at 6:40 with Viking pregame. For our videographer, Chris Olson, and executive producer, Rick Olson, I'm Jay Fall. Thanks a lot for joining us. Good night.
We at NLWN TV are excited to take you out to the ballpark for Colfax Viking Baseball. Our first game will be on Friday, April 4th, when the Vikings host the Owen Whitby Blackhawks. Our coverage begins with the Bullpen Show, where we'll warm you up for baseball action starting at 4:40 p.m. That's Colfax High School baseball on Friday, April 4th.
You've been listening to Viking Postgame, a wrap-up of today's Colfax Viking Boys game. This has been a production of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.